Hello, everyone. This is Steve with It's About Belief. And today I want to talk about, maybe you're stuck. And I'd like to talk about perhaps what is going wrong with those manifestations. So, what we're going to do is I have a quote here from the Bible. I want to start out with that. And then we will talk about that for a little bit and explain what that means because it's written, over 2,000 years ago. And we need to translate some of this into understandings of today. And perhaps the people that Jesus was talking to back then didn't have the understanding that many of us should have today or do have today about what we're made of, the vibrations, and so forth. And then I want to talk about manifestation techniques and then a story that I'd like to relay as an evidence or some way, that might benefit you and a story that will work perhaps for you. So here is, oh, by the way, if you would, so that's what we're going to talk about right now. But if you would, in the meantime, if you've listened to some of these before, you like what the message is, you like me and you like the way I deliver this, great. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. These things do help my channel quite a bit. If nothing else, it just gets the rankings up there. So let's get started right away with this Bible quote. And I'm going to read a lot of this because while you've heard parts of it many, many times, it's about a double-minded man. And so what I'm going to address here is the wishy-washiness of thinking. So when we call saints and sages and gurus masters, we're not calling them masters of us. We're calling them masters of themselves, masters of their ability to control their own thinking, because many of us have minds that just run amok. And this is the work, really, frankly, for us on the planet. The work is to get right here in our minds and control our thoughts as best as we can. That's why meditation is so important, because meditation somewhat abandons the idea that we can control our thoughts and just says, hey, don't think about anything. But really what the idea for meditation is to think only of God or the Creator or the all that is, however you want to classify it or name it. But it is the all that is. Everything is made of an intelligent life force. It's made from it, it's made by it, and it is an intelligent life force that we are within. Everything is made of it, so that means we're made of it. And so we are within the intelligent life force itself. So I don't want to get too far off the subject here, but I want to get right back to, let's do the quote. It's the King James Version, James 1. And I'm going to read through number 10, 1 through 10. It's a little bit in the weeds, but bear with me. You've heard parts of this a lot, but there's a lot of this you've never heard. So here we go. 1. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. Number 2, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptation. Number 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Number 4, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Number 5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and unbraideth not, and it shall be given him. Number 6, let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. Number 7, for let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. Number 8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Number 9, let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted. Number 10, but the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass, he shall pass away. So we know that we have heard that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and he shall receive nothing of the Lord. And I want to translate the Lord and Christ a little bit into a wider and broader definition. So Christ, or Christ consciousness, or Mother Earth, or Mother Nature, is the creative vibration that brings things into manifestation. So Neville Goddard has suggested that Jesus Christ actually was not a man. He is a concept. He is a vibratory frequency, if you will. He calls it a state of being. So Christ, or Christ consciousness, or Mother Nature is a state of being. In the Bhagavad Gita, Christ, and in the translations by Paramahansa Yoga of the Bible, he talks about Christ's consciousness being the manifestation, vibratory frequency that converts frequency into visible frequency or manifestations for us on the physical plane. So what does all that mean? It really means to create that frequency, one has to remain very stable in their mind, or their request, or what they're asking for of God. And it's not about bringing things to us in a manifestation technique. It's more about aligning our frequencies to that which already exists. And everything already exists. We're within God. We're within the creative forces that are everything, so it all exists now. It's just a matter of us tuning in our frequencies to that which we desire. Now, we're given, as it talks about here, temptations, or quote unquote, we're given a variety of things to choose from. And in that variety are many things that we don't like. And we think that we need to go fix those things. But that's not what we need to do, because trying to fix those things is diving out of the frequency that we need to be in. And we're now becoming a double-minded man, because we're trying to fix things that don't need to be fixed because they exist. They're just choices we can make. God has said, hey, man, here's all the choices, because we're free to choose which we want. We're given free will. And so in that free will, we are given many, many choices to choose from. So now we know what we want, because we've experienced those things that we don't want. Contrast, as Abraham Hicks talks about, many, many times. It's like going to the buffet and deciding what it is you want out of the buffet. And we don't freak out about, maybe we don't want fried fish today because we don't like it. Maybe we're allergic to it. I don't know. And we look at it, we say, oh, I don't want that. And why is it on the buffet? And we spend all of our frequencies tuning into that fried fish that we don't want, when over there is something else that we do want. Maybe it's a cooked vegetable plate, or maybe it's the salad bar. Why don't we just go to the salad bar? And that would be a single-minded man. Oh, look, there's something we don't want. We can look at it and just move our frequency over to what we do want. And so that's what we're talking about today. And that's probably why people get stuck. But when we see things in the physical reality, maybe they look a little different. Maybe they look like things that we need to fix. Maybe we have the wrong idea about what we're supposed to do with them. And we see many things on our media that suggest that we need to go fix these things, because they say, oh, we're going to jump on this and we're going to find out what the problem is so that it will never happen again. Well, when you do that, it's almost guaranteed to happen again. Why? Because you focus all your attention on it. It's going to come back as a reflection in those realities that have focused on it. So I know right away, I don't even want to look at this, because it's saying that you should focus on it, try to fix the problem so it won't happen again. Well, it'll happen again for sure. And then we want to move on to things that we don't want. So the categories in everyone's life is relationships. That's a big one. Money, career, that's a big one. And health, that's a big one. Okay, they're all three important. And perhaps something's going wrong, quote unquote, wrong in one of those areas. Maybe it's health. Maybe you've got a big health issue that you're dealing with, and you're out there trying to fix it. You're trying to find the problem. You're going to doctors. You're getting checkups. You're taking medications, blah, 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 blah. You're on that frequency, and you're going to do nothing but recreate it over and over and over again, because you're focused on the problem and you're focused on that frequency. And what did it say here? It said, my brethren, count it all joy when we fall into diverse temptations. To me, that's exactly what we're doing. When we find a problem, when we're falling into those temptations. And maybe the temptations are maybe more like addictions, or drinking too much, or sex, or overeating, or any of those things that might cause health issues. They may not cause health issues, because I see many, many things that would suggest that one size doesn't fit all on the planet. So we need to look to ourselves. It's just us, and how we look at everything. What is it, our belief? What's our belief about these things? Because it's our belief. It's what we tune into frequency-wise that determine everything. But it says to, have joy when we fall into these temptations. It's noticing the contrast. Oh, look, there's something I don't like. Rejoice in that, because why? Because now we know what we don't like, so we can go over here and pick off the buffet what we do like. And now, here is the rub. Just take our emotions and our heart and line those up with our brain, and say, okay, I don't like that. I don't want to put my emotions and my brain and my thought power over there. Let's just move over here and focus our attention on what we do like. Now, I know, but we have this physical issue and it wells up inside of us, an emotional thing. That is the mastery that I'm talking about. So how do you master that? Well, we can step back and, let's just raise ourselves up and look down on the whole situation and say, okay, now I'm up here. I'm out of all of the emotional responses. And I can see, okay, well, it's just a choice. And let's maybe convey that information to our smaller physical being that we just need to put our frequency over here. Let's say, okay, good health is a preferred frequency. So let's move our ideas and our attention and our focus and our heart and our emotions and our brain, boom, over there into the good health. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that smell like? How would we be acting if we had great health? Now that's what we're doing. Now I want to take this moment because in this same verse, James 1, let's drop down to number 22, which is part of the same message. Number 22. But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Number 23, for any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. Number 24, for he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of a manner he was. Number 26, but whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed. So let's translate that. Neville talks about that quite a bit because he says, be a doer of the word, which means look into who you are reflecting in this moment. And now Neville says, be a doer and use your imagination to look into what would be preferred. What's preferred? Well, in the health issue, good health is preferred. And we said, look over there. That's being a doer of the word. So the doer is one who uses their imagination. And then I have some notes on the back here that says use your imagination. And this is the coming from my techniques that's coming up shortly. Use all your senses. Use, of course, your visual sense to visualize what it looks like to be in good health. What does it smell like? What does it taste like? Maybe you're eating foods that you want to eat because you're in great health. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? In other words, put yourself into all your senses, into that which you wish to be. Now, you can do this for anything, relationships, money, career, any of those things. All right, so that's the overall message. And so now let's talk about technique. Technique is, I kind of alluded to one just now. Technique number one is, I'm gonna switch it. Technique number one is gonna be something even simpler. Technique is just be present now. right this minute. Don't create those what if scenarios, that worst case scenarios. And we kind of automatically go into worst case scenarios. So when people start talking to me about, what has transpired or what has not transpired, and maybe you or me or somebody is not communicating to them on a regular basis, and then I'll come back and say, look, I cannot compete with your imagination of the things that could go wrong in there. I can't compete with that. You're going to imagine things wrong. So, but I'm going to say technique number one, be in the now, appreciate what you have right now. Look around. You're in a peaceful situation, most likely. You've got heat and air, or you're comfortable. You're alive. Maybe your health isn't good. You want to appreciate. Actually, you want to appreciate the fact that your health isn't good. Why? Because now you can recognize, that you don't have good health. You can go back to here, number two, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation, which means, oh, look, I found some stuff that I don't like. But now you can say, rejoice and say, oh, that's contrast. Now I can switch to what I don't like. But so we're in appreciation now of even the contrast. You're in appreciation of what you think is not going wrong, or what you think is not going right, and what's going wrong. But it's going right, I promise you. So the contrast is something you need to pay attention to. You don't want to just ignore it. So appreciate, I love where I'm living. It's a great place. It's a great starting point for the next moment. And maybe I'm sitting on some nice furniture. Okay, I like this furniture. It's nice, I've got some decorations. Oh, pretty lights. Cool. Yeah, I'm breathing. I've got food. You can keep it down to the basics. You can get it. I've got my transportation. They're all working. I love my cars. They love me back. I love my house. It loves me back. Pick anything. What you pick your situation. Technique number one is stabilizing your vibrational output right here and right now. And that is huge. And so that moves you vibrationally up quickly into a higher vibration. And I love quoting this quote. Einstein says you can't solve a problem from the level at which it was created, which means you've created the problem at this vibratory level. You need to raise your vibration up here to solve the problem. How do you solve the problem? Well, you don't solve the problem. You ignore the problem because it's going to exist anyway in the space of no time. Everything exists now, so you ignore the problem. There's no fixing a problem. You move over there and you find the universe that you want to be in. So you move out of that universe you don't want to be in, and you move into the universe you do want to be in. Is this making sense? I hope so. So be happy, be joyous that you found this imperfect health, because now you can divert your attention into appreciation of the contrast, because you got to love your contrast. And that's really the whole point of this video. One needs to learn to love the negative things that come at them and appreciate them, because they hold within them the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Grab hold of that idea. Run with it. This is gold. I'm telling you, this is gold. So that's technique number one. Technique number two is, it can be closely aligned to technique number one, but it's Neville Goddard's technique. It's act as if. You already have that which you want. And so now we're taking our imagination and we're moving it to our anchor images that I like to call them. Maybe for you, it's health, and you see yourself running across a field in a park or playing with your dog, or I wouldn't say cat because they're not likely to be running around out in the field with you. They've got their own idea of what they like to do. But maybe it's your family, or you're just your significant other of some sort. Maybe it's just you just having a good time. But you're in good health. Perhaps it's money and you visualize yourself in a new house, a different car, a different level of a relationship that's in abundance instead of lack. And so maybe you're traveling around and you're doing all these things that you like to do. And you've got anchor images about all those things. And they put you in a higher frequency. Or maybe it's just a relationship. Maybe it's the relationship that you want that you don't have. Or maybe it's an improvement in the relationship that you do have. Maybe you recognize those things that keep coming back to you in relationships that you don't like, and you're trying to fix that. Well, now you know what to do. You don't fix it. You just change the frequency, and what you'll see is you'll see that person over there. They will look the same, but they won't be the same person. They're not the same person. They cannot be the same person. In all this that we're talking about, you're the center of your universe. You, in this moment, are creating the entire universe that you see out there in health, in career, in finance, in relationships. You are creating it. So you get to choose. Remember, you've been given free will. And the Lord saith that he giveth to all men and women, this is old literary concept, liberally, and unbraideth not. Anything you want. Anything you wish. You've been given the free will to ask the Lord, or the law of frequency alignment, the Christ consciousness of manifestation is going to reflect that which you are. So you raise your frequency. And I'm giving you some pretty simple techniques to do that. This is pretty simple stuff. And so we make it way too complicated, all right? So you raise your frequency by using anchor images, anchor feelings if you wish, anchor smells, anchor hearing, anchor touches, anchor whatever you want. And I like the images. And frankly, I need to work on adding the smells and the touches and bringing my heart into it a little bit more, because the heart has really a lot more manifestational neurons than your brain does. So you want to put the two together, working in concert, your heart and your brain, to give you the most power and the most manifestational power you possibly can. So then the next part of that is you don't want to tie yourself to any specific any specific manifestation that you may want to show up. Maybe you want a specific house, or maybe you want a specific car, or maybe you want a specific way your health will improve. You think maybe it's going to be through some medical treatment. It may not. It may be through frequency techniques. It may be through some belief you need to clear out of your mind. It may be something else entirely. It may be going to the movies, and watching movies that make you feel good. Whatever that is, or a relationship. It may be a certain particular person that you want. But I'm going to suggest to let go of all those specific things that you think the universe needs to deliver to you for you to be satisfied or happy, or in, those reflections that will, change your frequency. It won't work that way, of course. It's your frequency, it's your state of being that will manifest those things for you. And that's why we're talking about frequency alignment here. And you will get what you are, not what you wish for. And so, again, you want to step into acting as if and being that individual that you wish to be. And then your world will change around you. And so I want to kind of wrap this up with a story. And, it's one of my favorite ones, and maybe you've heard it, maybe you have not. It doesn't matter. It won't hurt you to hear it again, because repetition is the mother of skill. And so now, hearing this again, I hope you do. So I was working with some energy folks a while back in some very specific and very powerful energy manifestation techniques, or actually more like energy redirection techniques, to bringing energy and prana up the spine and into the mind, and specifically into the prefrontal cortex to raise frequencies. Simple as that. And within that, I had said to myself, I don't want to just hang around here in the office, as it were, and do this. I'd like to add some travel to this. And I got a little specific, not too specific. And I said, I'd like to travel to a different state. And I'm talking about a state within the United States, not necessarily a state of being, although that would be a different state of being as well. But different states. And I'd like for it to be, a little bit of work and some, more sightseeing, more fun, just kind of just generally fun. And then do it once a month. And then I just tossed that out there, and I really didn't think about it again. It's whimsical. I certainly didn't go look for it, because I forgot about it. And by the way, this is part of, I just did a video on a short order cook technique. Same thing. So I forgot about it. I took my attention off of it, and I just let the universe do what it does. It's just responding to me the way it does. Just like giveth, unbridleth. The universe is just pumping it out. It pumps it out constantly, every minute, every second of the day. We just need to relax and let it come, and take our attention off the negatives and put them on the positives. That's it. It's better. So anyway, I threw that idea out there to the universe, and I forgot about it. 3 months later, I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we're based out of Atlanta, and I'm at a seminar, an event, an expo for this energy technique. So what has happened? I'm 3 months into traveling, and I'm looking around, and we've been to North Carolina, of course. We've been to Tennessee, went to Knoxville. We were in Georgia, which is where we were, but we were doing the same thing. And we went to New York, and a couple and other places. That was only 3 months, so we probably only hit those 3 states at that time. And I look back and I said, "Oh my God, I got my wish." But I said, "But this is absolutely no question what I wished for, but it's not really what I wanted," because we were traveling in a little Toyota Corolla, And it was jam-packed with equipment and stuff and presentation materials and projectors and computers and people. And there were three of us, and we were staying at these cheap hotels, Motel 6, Super 8, that kind of thing. And we were doing our presentation. We were working a little more than I had wanted. And I said, this is what I wished for, but it's not what I wanted. Now, here's the thing. Did I take any time at all lamenting over what I had gotten? And no, I didn't. Not 1 second did I look at it and say, oh, this is not what I wanted. I got to fix this, or oh, no. I didn't do any of that. What I did was, I said, oh, I recognize what I didn't want. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations. Oh, look, there it is. I fell into it. And so now I said, oh, this is fantastic. But here's what I want. I can't really do too much about our mode of transportation right this second. I recognize that. So I said, all right. I said, we need to be in I would much prefer that we were in at least a 4-star hotel. Something a lot newer than this Super 8 we're in right now in Raleigh, Durham. And that maybe we're not working as much. By the way, this hotel, it needs to have an indoor swimming pool, a spa, and some kind of really good breakfast service, I like breakfast. and so not working as much. And by the way, the next time we travel, it needs to be in an airplane. I don't like this Toyota crap, and we don't need to have all this equipment, blah, blah, blah. And I changed the whole thing. And do you know that within, that very next night, we were in a brand new, it was within 6 months old, Embassy Suites. And you know what they have in Embassy Suites? Number one, they have an indoor pool. They have a sauna. They have an exercise. They have a gym. They have really nice rooms, a brand new one.